Welcome, everybody, to Pick and Roll. This is your NBA discussion and betting show. You're watching this either on YouTube, on the Board NBA YouTube channel, or on Twitter at the Board NBA. Of course, the Board NBA is the NBA content division of The Hammer. Visit thehammer.bet for all of your sports betting needs across sports betting content needs, that is, across all sports. And the reason we're going live at a different time today, we're live right now at 9 a.m. You can also catch this afterwards in podcast form, but the reason we're going live, Croatia have a big World Cup game in just about an hour that Pips, of course, wants to be watching as they face Brazil. And speaking of the Hammer, you can catch World Cup discussion and betting in similar format to this, a little bit longer, on the Fine Margins YouTube channel and Twitter account, which is the soccer content division of the Hammer. I'll be on that one at 4:15 p.m. Eastern time today. So you'll get some NBA betting content in the morning, some soccer betting content in the evening. But we're compensating, of course, because the World Cup is a big deal. Pips, how are you feeling about Croatia's chances today against the favorites to win the tournament, Brazil?
I'm feeling that we have a good chance. I think, as we saw, like how the Switzerland performed against the Portugal, and I'm not high. I wasn't high on Serbia, so I think Brazil had an easy group, and yeah, they dominated it pretty easily. But they haven't faced a great test yet, and yeah. Looking forward to it, and I think Brazil is, of course, favored, but we have a good chance.
Yeah, so I think it's going to have to be a really gritty performance from Croatia. I myself am hoping for an under over here. I have no ties to who win this game, so rooting for you, and I can imagine it's going to be a bunch of nerves a little bit later on. But let's get into our NBA discussion part of the show today, and there's a big matchup between, not really a big matchup, but kind of like an interesting matchup between the Timberwolves and the Jazz, who were involved in a big trade in the offseason, which got me thinking about trades in general. So I wanted to ask, what do you think has been the best trade from the offseason, given the evidence that we have about 30% of the way into the NBA season?
So I would say the best one for me is obviously Donovan Mitchell, but one of the most important ones so far this season is actually Malcolm Brogdon for Boston. So I will choose these two. Mitchell put Cleveland on another level. He was carrying them when Garland was out, and they are just trying to figure out how to play together. They are still not. They are just taking turns. But Donovan Mitchell is having unbelievable season so far. I think he could be like top 5 for the MVP because he averaged 29 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and shooting 50% from the field, 43% from the 3, and 90% from the free throw line. So he is 50, 40, 90 guy with 5 assists and almost 30 points and playing above average defense, which we all thought that won't be possible after seeing him for years in Utah Jazz. So yeah, Donovan Mitchell is playing amazing. But one of the most important concept trades is Malcolm Brogdon. Absolutely. Because last season Boston Celtics lacked rim pressure, and he is just amazing in those drives, in getting to the line, and he is helping them tremendously, especially opening when he drives. He opens up other players for spot-up shooting, and I think that's the crucial part of them being one of the best spot-up shooting teams in the league.
So I think we're really going to see Brogdon's profound impact as we go deeper into playoffs with this Celtics team. That really seemed to me like the missing piece for what should be a championship year. I think if the Celtics don't win a championship this season, the fans have a right to be, I mean, you get to a final or a conference final, you lose there. Obviously, that's impressive, but I think fans should be a little bit upset if this team does not go all the way because of how good they are, and Brogdon really puts them on that other level. Donovan Mitchell, obviously a big one. Before we started the show, I was talking to Pips, and I have a sneaky one here, and this is the best trade from the offseason for me. And Donovan Mitchell's obviously a very good choice, but I would have to. I'm just a little bit concerned about Garland and Mitchell working in the playoffs. I can see it working. I'm not saying that it's not going to work, but two smaller guards We've seen a lot of sample with that. We've never seen it with like such an outstanding rim protection duo behind them, but just a little bit more info on that one. But the best trade for me, sneakily, is the Utah Jazz when they traded Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert left the Jazz, and the Jazz received 4 first-round picks. They received also the first-round pick from the most recent draft, selected by Minnesota in Walker Kessler, he's doing okay. So essentially 5 first-round picks along with Malik Beasley and Patrick Beverley, who are not scrubs by any stretch of the imagination. And the Jazz, on top of making that trade, are still performing quite well. So they got all of these outstanding assets for Gobert. Plus, now the players are playing well. So if they want to continue to sell, Clarkson has upped his trade value. Mike Conley has upped his trade value. These are guys that they might be parting with throughout the season, depending on if they keep winning or not, but we'll see. But the valuation for that, and also now seeing the Timberwolves in a threat of missing the playoffs and having all of those picks, I think that Jazz pulled off absolute robbery with that trade. I understand the Timberwolves, they just never have a good team, so they sold everything for just to be a successful team. We don't really think that this Timberwolves team is good enough to win a championship, but at least like a team that can make some waves in the playoffs. So something that the fans have been desperately craving. But the Jazz clearly understood that. And I think from the second it happened, I was like, that is way too much for Rudy Gobert. I think like as far as impact, like 10 years from now, I think we could be looking at that one like a massive one. But like, if Celtics win a championship with Brogdon, obviously you might factor that in. Donovan Mitchell, obviously outstanding trade. But I think the Jazz with that Rudy Gobert trade really came through. And the reason that I brought this discussion up was because they are playing today. And there's actually a pick coming a little bit later on for that one. But let's go into the recap for yesterday. So really, really good start to the week. Unfortunately, that slowed itself down yesterday. Our first ever pick that is over 1 unit on Reggie Jackson, under 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to handicap the Clippers because it seems like guys are going to play, then they don't play. Do you think that had an effect here on Reggie Jackson, who goes well over, in truth, his 20.5 on the points, rebounds, and assists?
Yeah, I mean, Terrence Mann was ruled out. And even with Terrence Mann ruled out, Tyloo still benched. Not benched, but out of the rotation, Amir Kafi. And he was playing the last couple of games. And Terrence Mann was playing huge minutes couple of games. So Reggie Jackson, instead of playing his usual split 24 minutes with John Wall, they are like splitting it, like everyone gets 24 minutes, and in 24 minutes he wouldn't be able to cover this line. But with Terrence Mann suddenly ruled out, and with Amir Kafi out of the rotation, they ran some units with John Wall and Reggie Jackson together on the floor, and Reggie Jackson was playing shooting guard, and shooting guard obviously they hedge or blitz the point guards, and he was getting wide open threes from the side, and I think he made like 4 threes and got to play 35 minutes. So that was just something unexpected. And as you said, that's the thing with Clippers. I usually don't bet Clippers or New York Knicks games for the entire season. Like that's my rule since the tips came to the New York Knicks and since Tyloo came to the Clippers. So yeah, I should probably avoid that in the future. Not saying that I won't ever have any bet on that game, but very low. I just most of the time I just skip those games, and this is the reason why.
Yeah.
Unpredictable defensive schemes, unpredictable rotations, unpredictable roles. So yeah.
So these things happen. Obviously, you can't win every bet. Unfortunate after the good start to the week. But second play also, same game parlay. Lillard under 5.5 assists. Actually, I think I tracked this one incorrectly. Can you recap the second side of it? We had Damian Lillard and Nikola Jokic involved in a same game parlay.
Yeah, it was Damian Lillard over 5.5 assists and Nikola Jokic over 19.5 points. I think Lillard went double over. He had 12 assists and Nikola Jokic scored over 30 points. So I think this was close to the cover 5 minutes into the second half. I think it covered like 5 to 6 minutes into the second half. Lillard covered it in the first half. He had 8 assists at the halftime and then went crazy and scored 30 points in the second half. In second half alone, he scored 30 points. And Nikola Jokic was just aggressive, going one-on-one, single coverage, had pretty easily. I should have probably bet him, both of them on their regular lines, went to the safer option, but yeah.
Okay,
Still
I
good.
just realized producer error. I tracked this one incorrectly. I accidentally tracked both of these as unders, which I thought. But so when I saw on the Betstamp tracking, they both lost. They actually both won. So we're 7-2
Yeah.
on the week. We're not 6-3 on the week. Small losing day yesterday because it was a 1.5 unit. But my mistake there. That was a winning play. I thought we had an
Yeah.
0-2 day. It was a 1-1 day.
If we bet under on this line, we will get like plus 400.
Yeah. I just made an error in the tracking. I knew it was the overs. I didn't even check this game. To be honest, I was pissed because I had Portland on the money line and they lost by 1 point after leading late in the game. So I didn't even look at the box score because I was going to be upset with it. So that's my mistake. So sorry about that. It is a winning play. We're 7-2. Wow, great week. We got 2 more plays coming later today. So again, my apologies for that. I'll correct it on Twitter after the show here. But let's move on now into the next segment here. Of course, our Thrive Fantasy segment. We want to remind you guys about Thrive Fantasy. Make sure to sign up to Thrive Fantasy to get in line for their player prop contest. You can sign up with code HAMMER for a 100% deposit match up to $250. And with Thrive Fantasy, with all of these daily contests, it is super easy to join. They give you some of the most important players involved in the slate on the night. For today, there are 10 players that you need to choose out of the 20 available player props, and you can rack up points by choosing their over or the under. I'll pull it up for you guys to see here. Go into the contest lobby, find NBA, the $20 NBA Friday with $5,000 in prizes. So let's say Pascal Siakam over 24.5 is worth 95 points because you know Siakam is a hooper. Less is 105 points. You choose those, make 10 selections. The more points you get, the higher you are on the leaderboard. First place can get $1,000 in cash just by signing up with $20 to enter the contest. And again, with that deposit match, up to $250. Super easy to join with our partnership with Thrive on the Pick and Roll show. But we always want to make it super easy for you guys to find those picks. Maybe 10 even still can be a bit much. So Pips is going to try to find some of the spots that he likes. Is there anything that you like on the board here that you want to put in for tonight?
Yeah, of course. So the first one is obviously Tyrese Halliburton over 9.5 assists.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, just he's getting 10 like in every game, 10 plus 15 in the last game. So yeah, I just think this is too low. Second one, Darius Garland over 30 and a half points and assists against the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, the Kings improved a bit on defense over the last couple of weeks, but still they won't be able to stop Garland and high pace. And yeah, Devin Mitchell probably on Donovan Mitchell in some minutes. Fox will guard. Fox and Monk will probably be on Darius Garland. And yeah, I just don't see it. He should be able to cover this easily. And the third one is obviously Trae Young over 26.5 points. DeJounte Murray, Collins, and Hunter are sidelined for like at least 2 weeks. So Trae Young I think his line will open at 32 or 31 points. So this one is obviously getting 90 points for this one is a lock. So yeah. I'll go with that 3 picks.
So I really like how with Thrive Fantasy, sometimes they are a little bit different than what the main sports books would have here. So just by price shopping, you can find some really good value here. And just having that edge for those contests can be the difference from coming up with that $1,000 first place prize. Remember to sign up with code HAMMER, get involved with Thrive Fantasy. So going to go to the chat here for a second, just respond to some of the comments here before we get into the official picks. So I was speaking with Donovan Mitchell earlier, and Javon, I hope I said that correctly, says he weighs 220, 6'10 wingspan, not a typical small guard. I don't know if it's quite 6'10. That would actually be quite shocking to me, but that's a fair point. I think ultimately, I'm not like against, like, I just have my concerns. I think that's warranted with the double small guard duo, even though he may be not quite your typical small guard. But defensively, I can see that causing a little bit of issues for the Cavaliers. If I'm proven wrong, hey, I'll be the first to admit it. No problem there. And I also wanted to acknowledge Sean, maybe a Timberwolves, maybe a Timberwolves fan here in chat, talk about that team so far. I don't think it can get much worse than being a Timberwolves fan, unless you're like a Kings fan or maybe a Knicks fan. Just constant inability to make the playoffs is unfortunate. And today we will move into the official picks, which I will track correctly, and I will fix the tracking on that Lillard and Jokic play, which easily cleared. I'm so embarrassed by that. But let's move now into our official picks. Yeah, what anything to say?
Yeah, I forgot to say I've got like 5 messages on Twitter, guys sending me screenshots of bet stamp. But it's actually pretty awesome to see that guys are checking it and looking at this. So it's cool. And
Yeah.
I would just say thank you guys for watching for us.
Yeah, so I always recap the picks at the end of the show. I go through all the picks, but another way you can find the picks is that we do track all these plays publicly on BetStamp. Anytime Pips gives out a play right after the show, I go make sure it's inputted into the BetStamp so it's transparent. We can see the record. Right now, we do have a very good record. Pips does have a very good record on the season. So I will go back and fix that one, and then I will track today's plays correctly. So let's move in now to the official picks. We have the first pick, Raptors visiting the Orlando Magic, and Pips kind of wanted my thoughts on how the Raptors schematically lined up against Banchero last time they faced each other, because Banchero went 2 for 8 in a very uncharacteristic game where he normally just gets 15 points without any problem. But his line today, 20.5. You're liking the Raptors defense.
Yeah, I just you said he got the OG matchup, and good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck going
This
over.
season,
But yeah,
the OG matchup stuff.
yeah. And also this could easily be a blowout. I just don't see Orlando working here. I mean, they won the last game against the Clippers, but yeah, I just don't see it. And also, Paulo Banchero, since coming back from the injury, went over this line in 3 games out of the 8. So stayed under this line in 5. In the last game, he was heavily under this line. I think he had 15 points coming into extra overtime, and he scored. I think he scored 13 free throws to get to the 23 points. And I don't think OG will foul him that much. And with their overhelping, he is not a great shooter. He can't make 3 for save his life. Like I think just check. Yeah, he's 23% from the 3, and Pistons are. Raptors are just helping from the nail, helping on the drive, double teaming on the drives, and getting OG Anunoby matchup is tough for itself. And you get when you try to beat him off the dribble and go inside, and you meet some guys at the nail. Yeah, no, it will not work for him. In the last game they played 6 days ago, Banchero ended up the game with scoring 9 points and season low field goal attempts, and that's because of the OG cover. And we have Cole Anthony back. Moritz Wagner is starting and shooting a ton. So yeah, I think this is not the game for Banchero, and I like his under.
So last time the Raptors played the Magic, which was not very long ago, as you said, I was actually quite shocked with the usage Mo Wagner was getting. Banchero, like if OG's on this guy, Banchero wanted none of that. Not trying to be biased anyway. OG has been an outstanding defender this season. Just look at the stats every time he has a matchup. It's everybody's off night when they play against OG, except for Zion, who's just a freak of nature. But Banchero essentially couldn't get anything going because OG is a steal machine this season. Banchero couldn't deal with that, kept turning his back to OG, and just couldn't really get anything going. So if Nick Nurse just makes the easy decision and puts OG on Banchero, I think that this has a very good chance to get us a win here. But let's move now into the second pick. Enough about the Raptors. Big matchup, like I said, Timberwolves against the Jazz. Maybe some personal things kind of going to be going here, especially for the likes of Rudy Gobert, who you actually like his number on today, and I can absolutely see why. Let's go over to the second pick.
So the second pick is same game parlay, Rudy Gobert over 11.5 rebounds combined with D'Angelo Russell over 14.5 points. I will just go back to the last game against the Utah Jazz. Rudy Gobert had 23 rebounds, and that's with Towns playing. And without Towns, they will have smaller guys starting at power forward. And yeah, Gobert should rebound a lot. In the last game, they played the full minutes. He had 21 rebounds against the Pacers. So Pacers and Utah Jazz are having similar problems at rebounding at the five. So I think Rudy Gobert is in a great spot to have 15 plus rebounds. But we are using the same game parlay because D'Angelo Russell cleared this line in 7 straight games. And the biggest issue with D'Angelo Russell is his efficiency. And over the last 2 games, he scored 27 and 28 points while shooting over 50% from the field. And he's a bit of streaky guy. He will have like 5 games where he scores 20 plus points, and then he will have 10 games where he's under 15 points, shooting 20% from the field. And without Towns, and he's taking a bit more offensive load, and with some guys that are just catch and shoot guys. I think the ball will be in his hand, and yeah, as I already talk about like million times with point guards against Utah Jazz, I think as we saw Poole, how did Poole, how did the Anthony Simons did,
Yep.
and basically every point guard is going over against the Jazz, and I like D'Angelo Russell on this lower line combined with Gobert rebounding. I think this is a great bet.
Yeah, I like the spots here. Tune in chat also loving the bets for today. D'Angelo Russell, one thing on him. I don't think he's having that good of a season here, but one thing he has been doing really well to my surprise is shooting the mid-range. I think he's now above either just under or just above 50% from mid-range on the season, which puts him top 10 in the NBA from that position. So I think the Timberwolves should lean into that a little bit more. I'm like really driven by analytics, so I think the mid-range shot's inefficient, but specific guys who shoot it that well just need to fire away, and D'Angelo Russell definitely is a player who needs to continue to go from there. And like you said with Jordan Poole, he's a player who can kind of feast in those areas as well, maybe more from D'Angelo Russell. So good spots on 2 bets for today. I'll be watching closely on the first one as we hope Paolo Banchero goes under 20.5 points. Nick Nurse, just put OG on him, and you don't have to worry about him for the rest of the game. Second one, we are going to a same game parlay between the T-Wolves and the Jazz. Rudy Gobert over 11.5 points. Over 11.5 rebounds, paired with D'Angelo Russell over 14.5 points. That is minus 110 at FanDuel. The first one I didn't say was minus 125 at DraftKings on Banchero. So there you have it. Let's wish Pips all the luck in the world as Croatia take on Brazil in just about 30 minutes time. He's going to be enjoying that one. We don't have to worry about the show for the rest of the day. That's why he went a little bit early. If you want all the updates on the schedule for the show, make sure you are following at the Board NBA on Twitter. If you want some more picks throughout the day, you go to Pips NBA at Pips NBA for some Pip SGPs because he likes to give out some same game parlays throughout the day when he finds a good spot over there. More from Pick and Roll. We go live every weekday, usually at 11:15 a.m. But remember, I always say, just make sure you're keeping up with the schedule over there on Twitter. If you want more sports betting content, visit thehammer.bet and visit Fine Margins on YouTube or at Fine Margins with 2 S's on Twitter. I am doing a World Cup show there every weekday at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time after the World Cup game. So there's no games and there won't be a show, but today there will be a show. We'll be recapping the 2 quarterfinals from today, which is including Croatia and Brazil, along with Messi's Argentina against Netherlands, and we'll be previewing with betting talk on tomorrow's games as England play France after the first game where Portugal are playing against Morocco. So enjoy all that stuff. What's the pick on Croatia? My pick on Croatia, I get a little bonus, I guess. I'm worried the price has changed quite a bit. The price has changed quite a bit. Okay, I was on I don't advocate tailing this bet unless you're getting a good price. I am on the under 2.5 for today. I got that at plus 111. It has dropped significantly. Where I bet it is now minus 108. If you can get a good price on an under 2.5. That is what I have. So a little bit of a bonus official play. That is tracked. I track all my plays on Amateur if you want to see any of those. But thank you again, guys.
Can I
Oh,
say
you have
mine?
something for this one. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I will just go with Croatia or draw and under 3.5 points combined for plus 250. I think
Okay.
it's a good value, and yeah, I see this game as an under, and I will go for under 3.5 with combined with Croatia and the draw, which is plus 250, and I like that. I like that.
I actually remembered that I saw a really good price on Croatia to win in the 90 minutes as well. So I do have a Croatia plus 990 to win in regular time. Very small play, quarter unit play on that one, but we'll see. When you see a good price, you got to take something like that. And again, just to verify it all, I'm tracking all my plays on BetStamp. In the Find Betters, you can search Pick and Roll, where we track all the plays from this show. My personal plays are on Amateur Hour. Super easy to find. But thank you again, guys. Let's let Pips get on his way to watch the game. We'll see you on Monday, hopefully celebrating a couple winners today. And hopefully I track them. I will. I'll track them correctly tonight. So thank you again. We'll see you soon.